My name is Jim Donmoyer. I'm the Executive Director of the Lebanon County Commission on Drug and Alcohol Abuse. With me today is Samantha Leica, who is participating in our internship program this semester. She's from Alvernia University. And to her right is Dennis Good. He is our Director of Fiscal Operations for the Commission. First thing I would like to present to the Commissioners for review is the 2015-2016 fiscal year-end drug and alcohol report. I provided the actual revenues and expenditures with comparison to budgets. If you look at that first page of that report, in 2015-2016, our original budget was set at $1,273,523. We actually spent $1,057,119. So there was a difference of $216,000 that we underspent. I just want to point out to the commissioners, there's various reasons for that. The biggest reason, first I'd like to point out that even though we underspent that amount of money, we still served the same amount of people. So no, we didn't decrease how many people we were serving because we decreased the spending in our office. We actually served just as many, if not more, this year as we did last year, or the previous year in 2014-15. The major reason for that difference in money was because of the MA expansion. MA expansion paid for a lot of expenses that we normally would have been paying for, and they picked up when people would go to detox, when they would go to rehabilitation facilities. They would either flip the same day they went, or they'd flip over to MA the next day. So that saved our budget quite a few dollars. So that amount, and just so everyone is aware, we had to return parts of that amount because we get state funding, we get federal funding, but the state funding in particular, DDAP money, is earmarked for particular categories. And one in particular is Act 152. I think we're aware of that category. That is for people, we use that as bridge money for people waiting to get on MA. This year, there were no bridges. They were on same day or next day. So we did not exhaust that money, and that is categorically specific. So we had to return that. There was no way we could try to spend that to other avenues. So I wanted to point those things out. I brought Dennis with today. Again, he's the Director of Fiscal Operations. He prepared a summary for you commissioners to review, and he is here today if you have any questions about his summary, if you have any concerns about anything from the fiscal aspects of our operation. Is that correct, Dennis?
Yeah.
Anything you want to highlight, Dennis?
Well, Jim pretty much hit on it, but if you look at the categories on the worksheet here, our administrative group, our prevention costs, our intervention, and our case management were all fairly close or similar to what we budgeted. The area where we didn't spend as much as we thought was under the treatment category. And if you look at that, the total treatment expenses were $231,000 under budget. And as Jim said, that was because patients were flipping to MA much quicker. And that's a result of switching from Corbett's Healthy PA program to what Wolf has now as the MA program. So that covered a lot more costs, which we in the past would have paid for. So that lower cost is a result of that change in the MA, which is a positive thing for us. We're not spending as much money there. That was the big difference. Other than that, our year-over-year spending in categories was pretty much the same in all the other groupings.
The only thing I would like to add is we did receive additional funds from the governor this year for our heroin epidemic. So that was in the amount of $27,000 some odd dollars. So that additional money on top of what we normally budgeted, we had on top. So that's part of the 216 that we didn't spend.
just to clarify it in my mind, medical assistance obviously is a state program.
Yes.
And the money that you receive to, for the bridge money is state money as well, right? So in reality, this doesn't make our operation any more or less efficient or effective, or cost.
It's just who's paying for it.
Right, exactly.
And which pot of money it's coming out of.
Right,
Same.
same initial pocket.
Thank you.
Well, my question is, if the state budgeted both categories and we're returning that, is there an amount for the whole state of how much drug and alcohol programs are returning?
There will be, in the state, we have what we call the hub.
Mhm.
And the hub is where counties, when you overspend, let's roll back here. When you underspend like we did, we had to send money back to the hub. This year, we spent $70,000 back. So that $70,000 goes into a hub. Every other county in the state has to do the same thing if they didn't spend the money, so it goes into this hub. On the flip side, the 2014 and 15 and 2013 and 14, we overspent. So what we did was we went into the hub and got the money that we needed to balance our budget. So it's a place where you put excess. Counties have excess, they put it in there. People who go over their budget can go and use that money. After that's all done with, I don't know what they do with the money.
I
don't know
just
it
wondered
goes
if, it sounds like it will be millions of dollars because we're a small county, and I wondered if it would help the state balance their budget.
I heard, everyone I've talked to, my counterparts in other counties, have indicated to me that they're sending money back. This is a year unlike any other year.
Yeah.
Normally, people are knocking on the door to get money out of the hub.
Mhm.
This year, money's flown to the hub from just about every county. There may be those exceptions, but I would think that there would be a substantial amount of money in the hub. But again, I don't know what that money is meant for
How long
if
it can
counties
stay
don't
there.
need it.
Can you comment on, the governor has made the heroin epidemic a priority of his administration. Do you see that impacting your department at all in the immediate future? Programs,
What I'm
different-
told is it's in the budget again, and I am banking on the $27,475 that we got last year. And I plan to do similar things that we did with that money again for the next year. We've definitely seen an impact, a positive impact on, we started a heroin task force. We've done community events. We have started to provide providers and agencies with the use of Narcan, providing the training and actually providing them with Narcan.
And families, did you mention that?
Excuse
And
me?
the families also the training?
The family, we had a community night September 21st where we were at Hack and we had this event, and the public were invited to come and do the training, and then we provided them with kits as well. So in combination with the heroin task force, in combination with the distribution of Narcan, that is all money that we got from the governor. That's what we use that for. We're doing another speaking event in April. Chris Herron's speaking event in high school. He's coming in town to speak and talk about his story. So yeah, I believe it has been a positive impact. The only thing I can really look to say that's true is in 2015-16, we had 17 overdose deaths, and this year to date, we have 5. And it should be noted that after we started the task force, after we had the 7 overdose deaths in 2015-16 in July, we've had 1 after the task force has been assembled and up and running. So I can only look at the two and compare and say it has had a positive effect. That's why we're pretty proud and pretty excited to have the task force even get bigger and better. And again, we're only in existence for a year now, so I think we've done quite a bit in 1 year.
Good work. Corey?
Just out of curiosity, you talked about a large reduction in the number of overdose deaths. How often has Narcan been used by either emergency personnel or police departments to sort of bring people back from the brink?
Well, at our community event, Chief Detective Dan Wright was part of the panel, and he spoke of the Act 139 law, the Good Samaritan law. He talked about Narcan. He indicated that there were 8 police officer saves in Lebanon County. That's what he spoke about. There was also an EMT, Bryan Smith. He spoke on the panel, and he talked about that it's the second most used drug on his truck. What they're doing is, and that's basically, we're not seeing a lot of those people die because, you know, the police are intervening with that, the EMTs are intervening with that. So I believe that's really been a positive thing that, you know, in the past, when that stuff wasn't going on, people were dying before they got to the emergency room, before they could get help. So I absolutely promote and feel like anybody who comes in contact with, you know, someone who's fighting addiction should have it accessible. You know, that's why we have offered it to, some people have taken advantage of it. We've offered it to all our local providers, our outpatient providers, our methadone clinic, our inpatient, our detox. If you don't have it and you need it, that's a big problem. If you have it and you never need it, that's all right too, so.
In the family dispenser, it's a nasal, so it's not, you know, it's not a big hurdle to get, you don't have to do an injection.
No, there's different forms. This is a nasal spray. And, you know, our kits, they give the rubber gloves, they give the face masks if you have to do CPR, give 2 nasal spray things, they give, it's a kit. I mean, the kit's worth $80, and we gave 40 of them away at our community event.
What it sounds like what you're saying is that if it wasn't for Narcan, and from what you're gathering from police and emergency personnel, you might be looking at another year of record numbers.
I can't predict that. I couldn't tell you. I would suspect the numbers would be the same, if not worse, if we didn't have those, if we didn't have that specific tool or resource to use. And other counties have the same tools that we have. They have the Narcan and so forth, and their numbers are still going through the roof.
Yes.
I believe, you know, people are aware of what's going on. And our goal is to educate, make people aware, answer questions, refer them to treatment if that's the way we're going with it. But it's also, you know, we can't treat someone who's dead. So our basic premise is the Narcan for us is important, because that'll save somebody, and then the next step is for us to treat that person. So I'm 100% behind Narcan, and I would like to see it everywhere again where there's someone being treated or you're dealing with someone that's in addiction. We have Bryan Smith, who's a caseworker in our office. About 18 months ago, 20 months ago, there was a DDAP set down an initiative and said, hey, you county folks at the SCAs, you're going to do this program.
Do you want to speak in English instead of the DDAP? You know, give.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Okay. The Department of Drug and Alcohol Programs, better known as DDAP, they told the SCAs, which is the single county authorities, it's like my office around the state, they told us that there needs to be an emphasis on getting people out of the correctional facilities in your areas and getting them into treatment. So they called it the MA Prison Pilot Program. And what it is basically is when someone goes to prison, and we learned this because we talked about it, the warden was involved, probation was involved, myself, there was a whole district attorney's office was involved. We talked about the average person at the Lebanon County Prison sentences between 30 and 90 days. So the average stay down there is short. People that are going down there, there's a lot of people from probation being violated. They're being put in there. There's a lot of people that stay there and then go to court. A lot of them are getting time served. They're staying there until they get to court. So we came up with the idea, well, we didn't. Department of Drug and Alcohol Programs did, and said, hey, look, we want you to go in there. We want you to interview people that are in need of drug and alcohol treatment, get them out of prison, and send them from the prison door to a treatment facility door. And MA will pay for it immediately. So it's door to door. MA, this was even before the big MA expansion with Governor Wolf expanded and exploded. But so he's going down to the prison. He does assessments. To date, he's probably done, last time I saw his records, his reports, he's done 112 interviews of inmates in the Lebanon County Prison. And I believe he is pushing towards 65 to 66 people we've gotten out of the prison and sent to inpatient rehab. The other amount of people he recommended for outpatient treatment. But out of the 112 people, I think we recommended treatment for 108. So there's 4 people down there that we interviewed. 2 didn't even want to meet with us, so obviously they didn't get any kind of treatment. And the other 2, we deemed that they weren't in need of treatment at the moment. So 108 out of 112, you know, again, 64 inpatient. I don't know what's 64 from 108.
I just think it's evidence that you're light on your feet in your department, responding to new things and implementing where needs are, so we appreciate that.
And I really want to compliment the people in the office too, as far as, I mean, Brandon's a one-man show. He does all the prison stuff. And again, you know, an average interview is 1.5 hours to 2 hours. Then besides that, he's setting up all the transportation and he's setting up, you know, all that stuff. So there's a lot involved with it. So he does a good job with it.
Well, I think that, you know, that's really great that that program is now in effect. I think the downside to me at that is that out of 112 people, 108 evidently have an addiction problem of our inmates, and you know, so that gives us some idea of what we're up against.
I mean, it helps with overcrowding.
Yeah.
You know, because again,
Yeah.
they're just sitting there waiting to go to court, waiting to get sentenced, and then a lot of times time served and leaving.
Well, and a lot of
And now
times,
we're addressing the problem, so maybe, hopefully, they won't be back.
a
And
lot
our
of times
referrals
they
come
get
from-
added time onto their sentence because they act out, or, you know, because
Something
they aren't getting
happens.
treatment, so there's a whole bunch of good that comes from it.
And probation is the ones that give us the referrals. They refer who they, you know, violate and put in prison, hot urine, that kind of stuff, and they'll call our office and say, hey, I just put so-and-so in. He's gonna do 30 days, but instead of doing 30 days, will you interview him and see if you get him in treatment? So it's been working. Everybody's been cooperative, and we've seen positive results.
And Brandon rock, thank you.
I will tell him that.